I guarantee you we're going to end fossil fuel, and I am not going to cooperate with them, okay?
They said specifically, Pete, we want to put them out of business.
We're going to put you out of business.
Putin's price hike is hitting America hard.
This is Putin invading Ukraine when it comes to inflation. Yet they want to blame all of this on that.
How is this going to factor in for you now with Manchin and these new negotiations? What can you get done? But what's a timeline for getting those things to a vote? The president this week asked Americans to have confidence in the economy. They clearly don't, though.
What's up, you guys? It's Steve here, and I've got a tough question for you. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Do you believe that President Joe Biden and Democrats in Congress, the administration, have been lying to us about the economy? I've got some video footage you're not going to want to miss, and if they are, it then raises the question, have they been lying about stimulus? I've got some video footage and articles just coming out on a new plan for a stimulus package, but do you trust it? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. We're going to dive into all the details. This is your breaking news, stimulus check update and stimulus package update. Now take a look, you guys. This is coming out as of Friday. Stimulus check update. Is the White House looking to send out more money? We're hearing the answer is yes. Take a look, you guys. Multiple news outlets on Friday reported that the Biden administration has recently mulled over a new stimulus plan of sending American rebate cards to help offset escalated gas prices. Now, jumping down, it says one sticking point is that officials are reportedly concerned that consumers would use the cards for purchasing other items rather than gas. And the other is that the recent shortage of chips in the industry may create an obstacle for physically producing the cards, which we're hearing then you won't get a rebate card. If they're going to send this out, it will have to be a stimulus check. Now, do you think that the administration is going to be doing this? We heard over a year ago that we were going to get $2,000 stimulus checks, and now we're seeing this come to the forefront again. Like I've let you know here on the channel, as we approach these midterm elections, these proposals, these bills, they're going to start popping up left and right, and we will see it'll become more and more likely as we get closer that legislation could pass, or we could see executive orders. And I've let you know that there's over $800 billion just sitting there from previous packages, totally unused. 500,000 of that 800 alone came from the American Rescue Plan, and it's just sitting there, unused. Could provide two $1,400 stimulus checks. That's how much money is just sitting there unused. Now, let me know, do you think the Biden administration is going to be keeping their promises to us? Do you think that they're telling the whole truth? Do you think that they're telling the truth about the economy? I've got some video footage you are not going to want to miss, but we're hearing that Bernie Sanders is warning the president and Democrats, change your course before you nosedive in these elections, because people are not going to vote for you if you do not keep your promises. And he's been saying this for over a year. Take a look. Bernie Sanders presses Joe Biden on $2,000 stimulus checks. Promises must be kept. And he's saying you can't tell the American people you're going to give them checks and then you don't. Now, we're going to be seeing if he's going to be sticking to that. And if you missed that video covering all of the warnings from Bernie Sanders to Joe Biden, check it out right after this one. And also, I give an in-depth update on what we're hearing about gas checks from my video yesterday from Father's Day with me and my children. If you missed it, check it out right after this one. But you guys, let's dive into the video footage, and you're going to be hearing some of the points that they're saying Biden has not kept the truth on for the economy. And then we're going to be hearing from economic advisor Brian Deese, who is saying, no, the president is doing everything in his power to help out the American people. He is keeping his promises, and more stimulus is likely going to be on the way. So let's go ahead and dive right in. But before we do, if you could do me a quick favor, just takes a second. If you appreciate the updates, smash that like button for me. Just takes a second. It helps me out a ton. Thank you so much. Also, if you want to stay up to date, come join the Ram Fam. It's free. Why not? All you got to do is smash that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell. I'll keep you up to speed on everything as it rolls out. If you got any specific questions for me, shoot them to me in the DM on Instagram at SteveRam3. Consider joining my second channel, Steve Ram Finance, to learn about growing wealth and personal finance. That is free as well. If you're interested, I'll pin a comment down below. Click the link, go subscribe, turn on notifications. And I want to make sure that you don't miss out on anything. And we're hearing there's literally hundreds of stimulus checks from cities, states, and counties that are available, and people don't even know they exist. There might be stimulus checks available where you live, and you don't even realize it. We're hearing 90% of the people that are eligible are missing out, and they're only available for a limited amount of time, so the windows of opportunity are closing, and the money's just going back to the federal government. So I want to make sure that that does not happen to you guys, so keep an eye out for a comprehensive list to make sure that you don't miss out on anything. But with that being said, you guys, let's go ahead and dive right into the video footage.
Well, of course, most Americans would disagree, but Joe Biden says he's made a lot of progress improving America's economy since taking office.
Let's go off the wall to break down those claims versus reality. Let's start with this.
Always helps.
Joe Biden says that the United States is the most well-positioned country on the globe to deal with inflation. Watch.
In my plan for the economy, we made extraordinary progress. And we put America in a position to tackle a worldwide problem that's worse everywhere but here, inflation.
A worldwide problem that's worse than everyone.
Everywhere but here. It's worse everywhere else but here, except when you look at the stats, 8.6, a staggeringly high number. South Korea, these are developed economies, by the way, 5.4, 5.1, Canada 6.8. There are numerous other countries we could point out. A lot of hyperbole in that statement, not tied to reality.
It's not simply those three, by the way. I think the United States is somewhere between 10 and 20 when it comes to lowest inflation in the civilized, advanced economy world. That's reality check number one. How about this? Inflation is whose fault?
Putin price hike all the way. That's who it's got to be.
Vladimir Putin's fault.
Today's inflation report confirmed what Americans already know. Putin's price hike is hitting America hard.
Inflation is the Putin price hike.
This is a staggering chart. That should zoom in on this.
But chart. But wait. This is Vladimir. I don't understand.
I don't either, because it was looking pretty steady. I like that. You know, little curves there, a little ridge line. This is Joe Biden takes office. This is the American Rescue Plan passed. I don't know what that angle is. You have to tell me, Will. Is that a
steep ski slope?
80%? No, I can't even tell. Passed. This is Putin invading Ukraine when it comes to inflation. Yet they want to blame all of this on that.
Let's keep going.
Makes a lot of sense to me.
How about this? Oil companies are reducing production and racking up record prices, and that's why you're paying over $5 at the pump.
Oil companies, instead of everybody says, well, Biden won't let them drill, they make more money not drilling and buying back their own stock.
Why has production gone down? Well, it could be that when the Biden administration took office, they suggested they want to put oil and gas companies out of business. Look at this headline. API unveils a 10-point policy plan to restore U.S. energy leadership, fuels economic recovery. They said specifically, Pete, we want to put them out of business.
We're going to put you out of business.
And then what happens?
And what happens is they're not increasing refining capacity for obvious reasons. It doesn't make sense. Or they've moved over to refining renewables, because that's all this administration has signaled they care about is renewable energy. So when you try to destroy an industry,
they stop investing.
And then blame an industry, they stop investing simply as a business decision. So claim versus reality, a gap.
Joe Biden is tired of you and us talking about reckless spending that's saving lives, changing lives here.
I don't want to hear any more of these lies about reckless spending. We're changing people's lives.
Well, that's actually true. They are changing people's lives.
They're changing everybody's life in real time.
Hey, remember that inflation chart where Pete pointed out when the stimulus plan came into play?
Mount inflation,
yeah.
Putin.
What did that do?
Yep. The Fed had to increase its largest rate hike since 1994. By the way, reporting today recently is they're going to do it again.
Yeah.
They're going to have to do it again because money's been so cheap and so much money's been printed, and that's what's going to.
And they're doing that because, according to the Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco, that spending plan increased inflation by at least 3 percentage points.
Well, we got to get to this last one because this one's no, go for it. It's a doozy.
Well, look, on the plus side, we're cutting the deficit.
This year, by the end of the fiscal year, we will have cut the federal deficit by another $1.6 trillion in 1 year.
Okay.
This one.
So whether or not we're talking about job creation or deficit reduction, can we put it into a little bit of context?
Please do. Let's say I weighed 200 pounds.
Okay.
And then in 2 years, I gained 200 pounds up to I weigh 400 pounds.
Okay.
and then I dropped 75 pounds.
Nice.
I would say to you, hey, man, I dropped 75 pounds. I'm feeling great.
But you're still 130 up.
I still weigh 325 pounds when I used to weigh 200.
Deficit reduction and job creation are set against the context of some of the largest deficits in American history during pandemic relief. And, by the way, during the biggest shedding of jobs we've had in, a century. And from that baseline, Joe Biden is bragging about reducing the deficit and increasing jobs.
Yeah, that's exactly right. We spent more than we ever conceivably had. And he's saying because we got rid of that emergency spending, he's a deficit cutter.
Yeah.
As he would like to spend trillions and trillions more if he could get his Green New Deal passed.
Wow, there you have it, you guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Well, now let's also hear from White House Economic Advisor Brian Deese on his stance of what the president is doing actively to try to help out America. Let's go ahead and take a look.
And joining us here in Washington, Brian Deese, Director of the National Economic Council. Brian, welcome back to Fox News Sunday. Good to have you.
Happy to be here.
Okay, so let's look at some of the polling and seeing how Americans are feeling about the economy this morning. Fox News asked, do you feel optimistic or pessimistic? 32% optimistic, 65% pessimistic. And that has been, tracking the numbers, unfortunately, moving in the wrong direction. The condition of the economy, 82% of people say it's only fair or poor. And then we ask people a personal question. How is this impacting you and buying things like gas prices? 90% say it's a problem for them. 88% say grocery prices. Utility costs, 81%. The president this week asked Americans to have confidence in the economy. They clearly don't, though.
Well, look, we get it. When you drive up to the pump and you see the prices that we have today, it creates uncertainty and it creates real economic hardship. But at the same time, it is important as Americans that we recognize the unique strengths that we have in this economy. The strongest labor market since World War II, unemployment at 3.6%, household balance sheets that have repaired over the course of the last year. So we now have the lowest mortgage delinquencies in 15 years, the lowest credit card delinquencies in 30 years. Those are sources of strength that are unique to the American economy. We have a stronger and better position to tackle inflation than almost any other country around the world, but that's what we need to do now. And the president has made very clear that fighting inflation, bringing down prices is his top economic priority. He's using the tools that he has, and he's calling on Congress to pass legislation that would help to accelerate this process of bringing down prices without giving up all of the economic gains that we've made.
So Bloomberg reporting on this advanced negotiations that you have going on with folks on Capitol Hill, Democrats, this name that always comes up as a fly in the ointment for you guys, which is Senator Joe Manchin. He's actually getting praise from people across the political spectrum for blocking Build Back Better, as even the Fed has said that contributed to inflation potentially to the tune of 3 percentage points. How is this going to factor in for you now with Manchin and these new negotiations? What can you get done?
Well, I'm going to leave the negotiations where they are, not talk about them here. But what I'll say substantively is what are we talking about right now? We're talking about some concrete measures to lower costs that typical families are facing. Take Medicare prescription drugs. We can lower those costs by allowing Medicare to negotiate for better prices. That actually reduces federal spending and reduces costs paid by consumers. Lowering energy bills, utility bills with common sense tax credits, and reducing the deficit. Reducing the deficit with long overdue tax reform. Economists across the spectrum agree that if we take those steps, it'll be complementary to what the Fed is trying to do. Not only help to lower prices, but also send a signal to the market and the world that the United States is focused on this issue and is committed to bringing prices down, again, without giving up all of the extraordinary economic gains that we've made.
So what's a timeline for getting those things to a vote? We have an August recess coming. We have midterms coming that could potentially change the makeup of what you all control on Capitol Hill and can get done.
Well, those conversations are happening. I'm going to leave them to the leadership. What I would say is we're hopeful, and we really want to see something move here in the short term. Because, again, this is not just about enacting legislation. It's about giving some relief to families right now and sending a signal that not just the president and the Federal Reserve, but Congress recognize that fighting inflation needs to be our top priority.
Okay, so let's talk about the possibility of recession. It continues to seem to be a growing real possibility. Steve Ratner, who was part of the Obama-Biden administration, said the Fed is going to hike interest rates. Obviously, that has happened. But he said to get from where we are back to that goal of 2% inflation, the Fed's never done it without a recession. Now, he's not the only one talking about this. Growing number of U.S. CEOs also think that is the problem. The Wall Street Journal Journal reporting this. It says more than 60% of CEOs expect a recession in their geographic region in the next 12 to 18 months. And they go on to say that a business research team finds that an additional 15% think that the region of the world where their company operates is already in a recession. So 75% of top business executives think we're there or we're about to be there.
Well, look, a lot of things about the economy right now are unique. We've also never been in a situation where we've had 3.6% unemployment and the record level of job openings, 11 million job openings right now, which means there's a lot of incumbent strength in the labor market that puts us in a good position. But I talked with CEOs this week from sectors across the American economy, and what I hear from them is that we are moving through a transition. Americans are spending less money on goods at home. They're spending more money on services. For some companies, that's a real challenge. For others, it's an opportunity. The housing market is recalibrating after record home price increases, which have meant, by the way, if you're a typical homeowner, you have probably $50,000, $60,000 in additional equity in your home. But we need to bring those house price increases down, and that's going to filter through the economy. But as we move through this transition, not only is a recession not inevitable, but what we as policymakers can do is take steps to build on our unique strengths in the American economy and try to get to that stable and steady growth that we all want to get to as quickly as possible. So when you hear us talking about these policy measures, it's because what we can do right now is send a signal that we all get it, that inflation has to be our top economic priority, but there are things that we can do. There are tools that we can deploy. There's steps that we can take right now.
So let's talk about that, because the president has taken aim at President Putin. He has, and by the way, inflation was fourfold from when he took office to when the invasion of Ukraine began. But now he's going after the oil companies at a time when you all need to be working together. It appears to be a bit antagonistic at this point. Here is what he said to fossil fuel companies, to oil companies on the campaign trail back in 2019. This was his message.
I guarantee you, we're going to end fossil fuel, and I am not going to cooperate with it, okay?
Okay, you are a numbers guy. Would any sane executive invest tens of billions of dollars into infrastructure that the president has said he's going to destroy?
Well, let's talk about some numbers first. Today, America is the largest producer of oil and gas in the world. This month, we're producing 12 million barrels of oil. That's higher than the average under the prior president.
Well, actually, 2019 was the peak.
2019 was the peak. It then came down precipitously during COVID and has now come back. But we are a net exporter of oil. We actually produce more oil than we consume, and we send the rest.
Let me stop you there and give you a chance to answer this, because Yahoo Finance has a real in-depth piece about this, and their headline is "The Myth of Energy Independence." They say, with regard to oil, the main component in gasoline, the U.S. consumes more than it produces. Flatly stated, the U.S. is not oil independent in terms of raw crude, and I know there are a lot of different definitions we could use here. The U.S. has long been a net importer. They say it still is.
Well, there's a lot of different definitions and types of crude. The reality is we are a net exporter of oil, but more important than that for the immediate term is what we can do to increase supply. As you said, supply came down precipitously during COVID. We want to see that come back.
So there you have it, you guys. Those were the two perspectives, and let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Who do you agree with? Is the president telling us the truth? Is he not? Are they going to be doing more stimulus to help out the American people? Are they telling the truth about the economy? Well, you guys, whatever unfolds, I'll be sure to keep you up to date here on the channel and let you know the latest so you are up to speed on everything that's taking place. But with that being said, you guys, once again, thank you so much for joining me. And if you made it this far and you haven't already, don't forget, smash that like button for me. Just takes a second, helps out the channel a ton. Thank you so much. And if you'd like to stay up to date, it's totally free. Why not? Come join the Ram fam. Just smash that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell. Any specific questions for me, shoot them to me in the DM on Instagram at SteveRam3. Join the second channel, Steve Ram Finance, to learn about growing wealth and personal finance. Link in the description below. And also, keep an eye out for a comprehensive list of all checks coming to you very soon. But with that being said, you guys, thank you so much for joining me once again, and I will catch you in the next one. Take care. God bless. This is Steve.